At this time, please help me welcome to the podium today's speaker sponsor, Chris Rishko, CEO of Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works. Good afternoon, everyone. Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works is honored to serve as the speaker sponsor for today's event, and I have the privilege to introduce Mayor Maureen Donker to deliver our keynote address. Mayor Donker has served on the Midland City Council since 2007 and was first elected mayor by her fellow council members in 2009. She has remained our mayor since that time. Maureen is a proud, lifelong resident of Midland. She serves our community in countless ways as executive director of the Reese Endeavor and on community advisor panels for the Dow Chemical Company, the Cabot Corporation. She also serves on several local committees and boards related to health and the arts. At the state level, Maureen serves on the Michigan Municipal League Workers' Compensation Board of Directors. For her contributions, Maureen has been honored by the Girl Scouts, the League of Women Voters, the YWCA Great Lakes Bay Region, and also with the prestigious Athena Award for her work in helping other women reach their full leadership potential. Maureen is a graduate of Northern Michigan University and the Great Lakes Bay Leadership Institute. She and her husband Norm have two children, Aaron and John. Please welcome to the podium Mayor Maureen Donker.
Sure, thanks. Thank you. Wow. Well, thank you, Chris, for that kind introduction, and thanks to my friends at the Alliance for the invitation to be here again today. It's always an honor to be here. It truly, for me, is an honor to serve as your mayor. One of the things that I most appreciate about this work is the people that I get to work with. My wonderful, amazing team at the city, my colleagues on council, and all of you. It takes all of us working together to make this vision a reality. My thanks to all of you for being here today. It's hard to believe that it was a year since the last time I stood before you. Really, it seems like it was just yesterday to me. But we know that a lot has been accomplished in 2018, and there's more to come in 2019. Some of what is in store for us is exciting. You know, we're going to see more development along the river, the LPGA, more restaurants downtown. And some of it is going to be unknown, like the historic spinoff of Dow DuPont into 3 companies. By all accounts, having 2 more global corporations in Midland will bring economic diversity and incredible opportunity. Yet Midland will no longer be the Dowtown that we've always been. I've been often asked, what do you think it's going to be like? What's going to happen after the spin? I'd like to say that I have the answers, but I simply don't. The reality is that the world in front of us is going to look different than the world behind. I just finished reading Todd Bolsinger's book, Canoeing the Mountains, and it's about leadership in a changing world. And in the book, he describes the journey of Lewis and Clark, who were the famous explorers who were hired by Thomas Jefferson to find the Northwest Passage. Like many before them, they believed that it would unlock commerce across the New World and change the face of the continent. But after months of travel, Lewis and Clark and their team reached the Missouri River, and they were ecstatic. They believed that the Missouri was the waterway that was going to take them to the famed Northwest Passage. Their plan was to haul their canoes to the crest of the hill, take in the beautiful view, launch their vessels on the other side, and then they anticipated an easy ride to the Pacific Ocean. But what they saw when they got to the top was completely unexpected. It was mountains for as far as you could see. Now their plan was to explore by boat. They were rowers. They were not mountain climbers. And they knew nothing about traversing that kind of terrain, and they were not prepared at all for that adventure. Their entire mission was about to change. The map before them was nothing like the map behind, and it was time to go off of it. Now, I saw some parallels between Lewis and Clark and the transformation that we've been going through for the past few years. This is a time that's going to be written in our history. It's exciting, it's a bit unknown, sometimes it feels a little scary. We're about to go off the map. In his book, Bolsinger offers a simple approach for navigating any kind of change. This is what he says: let go, learn as you go, and keep going. Let go of the way things were and the old ways of thinking. Learn as you go by adapting and welcoming change, and just keep going, because that is the best way to handle any adaptive challenge. So let's talk about how that relates to our city, some of the wonderful things that happened in 2018, and some of the things that you can expect in 2019. At the city, we continue to focus on the goals that work so well for us: economic sustainability, effective utilization of resources, and provide services that enhance quality of life. What I'd like to share with you is what I see as our three main challenges for this coming year. First has to do with organization sustainability. Midland has long provided high-quality service in the most financially best way possible, but costs continue to rise and revenues remain flat. Raise taxes, cut services. We don't want to do either, and we certainly don't want to do either reflexively. Last year, we engaged the community through surveys and work sessions to better understand what their thoughts were and their priorities. And at our annual planning session in January, Council's direction to staff was, we want to keep the millage rate flat, but we would consider a $0.25 increase if it's necessary to achieve 60% funding status for the MERS pension plan. Then City Council, what we did was we asked staff to take a deep dive. We asked them to go off the map. We said, take a look at how your departments are organized. What is the things that our community most values, and how can we provide the services that we offer in a different way? How we wanted them to think about it beyond tax increases and service cuts. Now, we're not sure where this will lead or what it will bring to us, but we are sure of this, that we will be prepared through deliberate, thoughtful, and proactive consideration of these issues long before any of these tough decisions need to be made. Our second major challenge has to do with community sustainability and resilience. Last year, the county completed their housing study, and that had some concerns for us. What we are seeing is that housing stock, particularly in our historic core, continues to shift from owner-occupied to rentals. Now, this dampens reinvestment in housing. Couple that with unfettered growth in areas adjacent to the city, particularly to our north, makes that even more pressing for us. To address this, we're going to do a few things. We have been and will continue to engage with Larkin Township in order to find land use and development approaches that are best for both of us. We're going to continue to explore options and support initiatives that invigorate our core downtown areas. And we're going to take another look at ourselves. We're going to review our own rules and regulations to ensure that we're not a barrier discouraging investment and reinvestment in the community. We're going to let go of some of those things that might need to be let go of. And then the third issue that I see to be most pressing is the sewer study. Now, I have to say sewer study and sanitary system a few times, and I really feel like I'm going to be, it's kind of a tongue twister, so I might just be calling it the pipes in a minute. So, as it relates to our sewer system, This past year, we commissioned a study to take a look at it, especially because of the flooding that we've experienced a lot. Midland has truly been impacted by weather, mostly rain events. The study identified $118 million in possible improvements. As much as we'd like to, we are not financially able to make all of those improvements immediately. But what we are doing, though, is we're going to start down a path. We're looking at ways to make our infrastructure, our own infrastructure that's existing, better. We're going to be physically assessing and inspecting all of our pipes. And while we do that, we're going to be identifying and repairing any of them that need to be repaired along the way. And Council has directed staff to add additional $250,000 to make those improvements happen. Now, why this is one small step, it is going to position us to better understand where the improvements are most needed and where further financial investment will have the most impact. We are hopeful that by this deliberate approach, we'll reduce our overall exposure and reduce the risk of flooding for our residents. No matter what we do, this is going to take a lot of time and money, and we're really hoping that you will support us as we work to address this critical challenge in our community. Now, I hope that you saw in these three challenges that we are learning to let go, learn as you go, and keep going. Now let me tell you about some of the things that happened in 2018 and some of the things you can expect to see in 2019. And let me start with public safety, our fire department. In December, we acquired a Stutfin ladder truck. This replaced a truck that had been in service for 25 years. It's really amazing. If you get up close and personal with it, it's really amazing. This truck gives us much more aerial capabilities, and that's important because we're seeing more multi-story buildings and more commercial buildings being built. And as always, the best ways to fight fire is to prevent fires. And our firefighters are out in the community doing inspections, they're meeting with seniors, they're in the classroom with young children, talking about fire safety. With our police department, in November, as you know, a county-wide millage was passed that approved funding for schools SRO, school resource officers. So we are very excited that we have 2 new resource officers in the schools. They started in January and they are off and running. Mental illness is one of the most complex and debilitating problems of our times. 1 in 5 Americans are impacted by mental illness. Last year, our police department took and completed the One Mind campaign pledge. This required them to develop a sustainable partnership with mental health providers, to develop a comprehensive response policy, to have all police personnel trained in mental health first aid, and 20% of the staff are trained in crisis intervention. Our department is the first agency in the state to complete this pledge. I think we should be very, thanks. Now, I was just going to say, we should be very proud. Obviously, I don't need to tell them that we should be very proud. We should be very proud that they understand the part that they play in helping and assisting individuals with mental illness. Infrastructure. I just want to give you a quick little update on this. Last summer, MDEQ, as part of their state plan, tested our water. It's good. Over the summer, we replaced 3.2 miles of water main, and thanks to our millage, we were able to reconstruct or resurface 8.8 miles of public streets. M20 is on schedule to be completed by this fall, and repairs to the Curry Bridge should be done in time for the LPGA. Yay. Yeah, those LPGA folks, I see them. In June, we completed the renovation of the lower level of the library, which was devastated by the 2017 flood. This renovation not only restored the youth services area, but also allowed us to improve the space. Another change at our library occurred this year when we said goodbye to Melissa Barnard, who had been its fearless leader for 18 years, and we welcomed Miriam Andrus, who replaced her. So Miriam, let's give Miriam a good Midland welcome. Hey. And in the fall, we started work on Upper Emerson Park. This is a project that's going to convert the former pump house along the river into an overlook area. This also supports our goal of having more accessible and barrier-free recreation options available to the public. This project will be completed by the end of the year. Now I'd like to tell you about some initiatives that are going on in the community. Now at the city, we talk about being a city of choice. And what we mean when we say that is we want to be the place where businesses want to locate and people want to live. Well, you can't do just one thing and make that happen. You have to do lots of different things. And one of the things that we are doing is we're working to improve well-being in Midland. And the tool that we are using to make that happen is positive psychology. We now have 39 people in Midland who have been certified in applied positive psychology. And they are taking their learnings back to their organizations and sharing it with the public. Now I'm going to tell you who these people are. Our city manager, our county administrator, we had 5 people from Dow, 3 people from Midland Public Schools, 2 from the ESA, 1 from Bullet Creek, 2 from Mid-Michigan Medical Center, a physician, 2 from the Community Foundation, 1 from the Strosacker Foundation, United Way, Community Mental Health. We had leaders from across nonprofits. We had the Business Alliance and small business owners are certified in applied positive psychology. These are people who can affect change in Midland. Now let me tell you, just to give you an idea of some of the projects that they have done since they graduated in June. At Mid-Michigan Medical Center, they have developed a program that will identify loneliness in older adults. They applied for and received a grant for $225,000 from the Michigan Health Endowment Fund to make that happen. Now this is important. Addressing loneliness is important because a sense of belonging is one of the biggest indicators of well-being. Now they gave me another statistic, which I found a little interesting, is that loneliness has a worse effect on physical health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I don't know how they figured that out, but they did. We have 2 more graduates who are also working on belonging, and they have a wonderful little project there where they paired 3rd graders from St. Bridget's with residents of the Riverside, and they are continuing to meet throughout the school year. And then we have another pair of graduates who have created a series of trainings that they are offering to businesses and organizations that focus on different aspects of well-being. Most recently, they conducted a training for the Community Foundation that brought together 70 individuals from local nonprofits who learned about creating a positive culture in the workplace. We continue to have a wonderful relationship with the University of Pennsylvania, and we're very pleased to say that 2 organizations from Midland, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the Cultural Awareness Coalition of the Community Foundation were chosen this year to be student service projects through their School of Applied Positive Psychology. Catalyst Midland. Catalyst Midland has been around now for a year. We need to be telling the good things that are happening in Midland, and Catalyst Midland is making that happen for us. We have 6 local organizations that are funding that and making that happen for us, and I think it's important that we recognize them. Midland Area Community Foundation, the Midland Center for the Arts, the Midland Business Alliance, Isabella Bank, Mid-Michigan Health, and the Dow Chemical Company. Now, I'm sure they would welcome anyone else who wanted to help support them in this effort. And if you are not a subscriber to Catalyst Midland, I really encourage you to do so. Now, Midland Neighboring is an effort and an initiative that began in 2011. And it was started by our faith-based community, and it has evolved over the years. This last year, they developed a partnership with the Cultural Awareness Coalition, and it's been a wonderful partnership. So National Good Neighbor Day is celebrated on September 28th every year. That kicks off Midland Neighboring Week and Cultural Awareness Month. And the goal of that time is to help create a more inclusive, welcoming, and connected community. I think the thing I appreciate about this program, this is something that all of us can do. Your businesses can sponsor it, and you can do it in your home, in your own neighborhoods. It's a wonderful project. Now, I'd like to take a little walk around the community. I could just call us, let's take a look at what's happening in Midland. In 2010, the Knight Foundation and Gallup came out with a study. It was called The Soul of the Community: Why People Love Where They Live and Why Does It Matter? 43,000 people participated in this study, and they identified 10 attributes that attach people to the communities where they live. Now, consistently across all of those 43,000 people, there's 3 top attributes: social offerings, welcoming community, and aesthetics. So if you think about a cultural attraction like a museum, it is as important as attracting someone to Midland and making them want to stay here as is a safe community. So if you have never been to our Center for the Arts and seen the museum, you need to go. It's a very different place. If you went this weekend, you could go in and take in a demonstration on sound where you could see actual sound waves. And you could see the new space exhibit, and you could experience the Smithsonian Spark Lab. The center also brings to us wonderful professional programming, great hits from Broadway like The King and I and Kinky Boots. And Matrix season is going to be starting in June, where you can participate in a drone festival, hear Matthew Morrison in concert, hear a national expert on happiness, and so much more. In addition to this professional programming, they also offer a huge array of programs which feature our own incredible talent. We need to have all kinds of these experiences in our community to attract people here, and the center is really working to make that happen. Now, people travel the globe to experience great architecture. Last year, John Lynch went to Italy. He told me all about it. He had a great time, saw lots of wonderful things. In Midland, we have an unparalleled collection of mid-20th century architecture that has the power to entice people here and have a real lasting impact economically for us. The Alden Dow Home and Studio has created a website and mobile app that not only documents this architecture, but also makes it accessible to everyone. Our architectural heritage is yet one more thing that differentiates Midland as a vibrant, engaging community. Dow Gardens. They've completely transformed themselves, and they are really promoting economic growth and vitality in Midland. The Dow Gardens are formed have 3 different areas: the Pines, which is the home of Herbert and Grace A. Dow, the Gardens, and Whiting Forest. Last year, in addition to creating the ever-changing, wonderful landscape that they always have, they increased their history and horticulture programming, and they opened the Canopy Walk. They had 217,000 visitors last year, which was up 55% from the previous year. And in January this year, they've already had 3,000 visitors. This summer, you'll be able to see a National Touring Art exhibit of origami in the gardens. And then building on that theme, the Public Arts Committee is going to be utilizing origami in their offerings this summer, which will create a very nice community-wide experience. I think these 3 organizations have all grown and changed over the years. I think they're a wonderful example of let go, keep going, and what else? Learn as you go. The LPGA. Well, that's exciting. It's going to be an exciting month for us in July. The Dow Great Lakes Bay Invitational is an inaugural event on the LPGA Tour, and it's going to bring 144 of the finest women golfers to Midland to play for a $2 million purse. This is the first ever team format event in the 69-year history of the LPGA. This event is expected to see over 30,000 spectators, and it will be broadcast on the Golf Channel that reaches 150 countries around the world. Their goal is to have the most sustainable, innovative, and inclusive tournament on the LPGA Tour. Now, in addition to the tours, to the tournament, there's going to be lots of other activities that are going on that month, or that week. They have a major emphasis on youth and STEM, so we'll see lots of activities in that area. There's going to be an inclusion summit, and there's going to be a 2-day food event. I think this is going to be a really exciting week in Midland in July. And last year, $32 million was spent on overnight stays in Midland, and this was up $2 million from the previous year. At Midland Public Schools, they are very excited about having the school resource officers. They now have school resource officers in addition to Midland High and Dow High in both Northeast and Jefferson Intermediate. They continue to make safety improvements in all of their buildings, and this year they're going to have additional training on how to address lockdown situations where all their staff will be trained, so they are prepared should this ever occur. They continue to have lots of construction going on, and they will have completed renovations at Chestnut Hill and Siebert by the end of this year. They're going to begin full renovation of Adams this spring, and they'll be doing some additional work in the high schools and in the middle schools. And now the most important information. How are our kids doing academically? Last year, proficiency scores for grades 3 to 11 averaged 18% higher than their peers across the state. SAT scores averaged 27% beyond their peers across the state, and 86% of Midland students that took the AP exam had qualifying scores. Mid-Michigan Health. Mid-Michigan Health is one of our largest employers in the county, and this week they are celebrating their 75th anniversary. On March 15th, they served their first patient, which was an expectant mother and what was then a 47-bed hospital. And they have grown to be a 324-bed, state-of-the-art facility caring for patients in our own backyard, in our region, and across the state. Today, they have almost 2,200 employees. They are an economic driver for the region, and this summer you'll see the completion of the Orchard Building, and the Heart and Vascular Center will be coming in 2020. Most recently, they were named by the U.S. News and World Report as one of the best hospitals in the state of Michigan. So I think all of us should applaud them on their 75th anniversary. At Northwood, Phase 2 of the North Village Apartments is underway, and it's going to be completed this summer. This is a state-of-the-art student housing facility that has the capacity to house 164 students. This fall, Northwood will become one of the first schools in the state of Michigan to offer esports. You know, gaming has grown into be a global phenomenon, and just like athletic sports, esports is going to help communication skills, highlight teamwork, and help encourage healthy competition. So take a look at what esports looks like. Esports. In September, Dow held a dedication celebration for its new iPark. This was an opportunity to recognize the accomplishment of taking it from an idea to a reality. During that celebration, the new tenants were introduced to the community, and the community had an opportunity to hear from Dow leadership on their vision for the future. Midland and Dow has prospered together through the years in a large part because of our ability to work together for the benefit of all. And we will continue to do that. To our new companies, if any of you are here, we welcome you to Midland. We are looking forward to getting to know you better, and we look forward to working with you in the future. To facilitate the iPark, the Dow Chemical Company was granted a street vacation for a portion of Saginaw Road from Mark Putnam to Salzburg. You know, knowing that the traffic was going to shift from Saginaw Road traffic to Waldo, Dow paid for improvements along South Waldo Road to help accommodate that increase in traffic. Now, as we've seen in other parts of the community, infrastructure sparked investment when Multus announced that it was developing a new office complex on Bay City and Waldo Roads. Multus is a building group, as a building group is a national company that is headquartered here in Midland, and in their words, they wanted to put forth a concentrated effort to invest in the local Midland economy. This is creating 45 new jobs here in Midland. Now, Center City is our Saginaw Road area, and Saginaw is the second oldest business district in Midland. And since 2012, it has been known as Center City. With the rerouting of Saginaw Road, we received a $1 million grant from the Dow Chemical Company to help further investments and further improvements along that corridor. So building on existing work, and with input from property owners and businesses in the area, consultants have created a development plan which is now being reviewed by those Center City stakeholders. Concepts that are being explored for that area include pedestrian and traffic improvements at the circle, aesthetic and non-motorized enhancements throughout the corridor, and zoning changes that will help create a more welcoming place. I think stay tuned. We're going to see lots going on in Center City, and it's going to be very exciting for that area of town and for all of us in Midland. The Circle Wine Garden was an idea of Jim Barker, and it brought new energy into that area of town. I think that area of town for the first time saw crowds that they had not seen in years. It is going to be back this summer. And in addition to that, Jim has another initiative that is underway, and it is going to be a food truck gathering event that is going to take place in the former Ford dealership area. It's going to be once a month, and it will start in May. Our Midtown area continues to evolve. Last fall, Midtown residents took it upon themselves to develop a weekly Gathering at the Grove food truck event that saw friends, neighbors, and community members gathering in the park on beautiful Tuesday evenings. I think it was a great example of neighboring. And in December, Midtown residents met with representatives of the city to talk about what could be done to further develop and shape that area. In January, the city launched the Grove Park Master Plan, and that will take shape throughout 2019. We enjoyed our first full season of programming in our beautiful downtown this past summer, and we saw the addition of the Art Fair and the combined River Days and Balloon Fest. Last year, Grazzi's, Pathfinder Commons, First State Bank, and Ellsworth Place opened in the downtown area. And since 2014, we've had more than $61.5 million worth of private and public investment that has taken place in downtown Midland. It's awesome. This spring, we look forward to the opening of the Fairfield Inn, Molasses, Pizza Baker, and Three Bridges Distillery in their new downtown locations. And you will also see the return of the sculpture series as we get teed up for this summer. And this fall, you'll see the groundbreaking of Delta College. That's awesome. We are modern explorers. We know what it means when you say, let go, learn as you go, and keep going. We are finding our path, and it will tell the story of collaboration, growth, and opportunity. Together, forward, bold. An exceptional place where everyone thrives. Thank you.